This is FinTech Futures at FinovateFall, and I'm joined by Lauren McCollom of Grasshopper Bank. Lauren, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with us today. To get started, would you quickly introduce yourself and your role at Grasshopper Bank?
Yeah, so I'm Lauren McCollom. I lead the embedded finance group at Grasshopper Bank. We are a digital bank serving the innovation economy broadly.
Excellent, sounds great. And you spoke earlier today on a panel about the growth of embedded finance and how banks can really grasp that opportunity being presented there. For those not in attendance, what were some of the key takeaways from the talk for you?
Yeah, I think we heard the word vertical SaaS more than once, so it's really a hot area to find revenue opportunities and serve those customers that have really great engagement with their users. So lots of revenue opportunities both for the companies and the fintechs that we're serving, but also for the banks to partner with them. I think also we heard a couple times, like, this is not for the faint of heart. So embedded finance is something that you really need to take ownership of as an organization, top-down engagement, and ensure that you've got the right framework for managing these complex partnerships for a long term.
Excellent, sounds great. And I guess, given the increasing number of fintechs in the space now, the forays of big tech into financial services as well, is embedded finance becoming an imperative for banks now? And what advice would you give to kind of banks looking at that market?
I think it's a really interesting space for banks to explore and see if it's in their DNA to get into it. It's not for all banks. You know, there are those that are becoming a little bit more digitally native, and I think for those that are taking the leap of technology and disrupting their own technology stack to be a little bit more forward thinking, there's great opportunity for them. I would, caution, don't do something that you don't know about, right? So be really cautious and mindful as you're getting into it. Work with good partners that you know or have forged relationships with, and that'll really carry you for a long time to have kind of that community and network structure of folks that have been doing this and give you good guidance.
Sounds great. So what trends are you seeing in the US at the moment when it comes to banks and their embedded finance initiatives, and what have you been working on at Grasshopper as well?
Which I think banks are just adopting AI technology across the board, and I know that we utilize it a lot, specifically on a risk and compliance team, utilizing tools that allow us not only to have greater visibility into the end users and their transactions, to do monitoring, to do different type of scoring activities on them, but really just to ensure that our human capital is well used for kind of highly specific requirements, and to let technology take the brunt of the research or researching requests that come through.
Sounds great. And I guess, how have you looked to approach your embedded finance strategy at Grasshopper then?
We've been pretty consistent with our strategy. We started out Grasshopper as a digital bank serving small, medium-sized businesses in the venture and private equity community, and we've stayed pretty close to that core, really giving our customers and fintechs an unfair competitive advantage when they work with us, because we understand their customers. We work with them directly through our direct models. We have small, medium-sized platforms, so you can go to our website, sign up for a checking account. Fintechs that work with us, we're not competing on the checking account, we're competing on the UI and the experience. And I think having the knowledge of what it looks like to serve those customers really carries through. Very similarly for our venture and private equity firms, we're able to actually help augment some of their banking activity with some of the lending products that we have. So really excited to see how that plays out in the future for us.
And you touched on AI briefly earlier as well. How has that, the rise of, I guess, generative AI and AI in general, impacted embedded finance?
I think it's touching it, if you will. I think everyone's trying to figure out what best to do with it. On the embedded finance side at Grasshopper, I don't believe we're using it in like a customer-facing way yet, but we did launch a pretty important and impactful, what we're hoping to, for our direct customers, the ability to integrate with the bank and use some AI technology to get really insightful, contextual, actionable data out of the platform that we have on that direct side.
Excellent. And what would you say some of the risks are for banks when it comes to embedded finance, and what best practices would you give for overcoming those?
I mean, the biggest risk is our charter, right? Not being able to maintain that or to get into some trouble. So you really need to have a strong foundation of risk and compliance and third-party risk management. You need to have the team in place. You need to have technology that you have visibility into. And you need to be really selective in your partners, right? This is a long-term engagement with the partners. So sticking to your strategy, having that being defined and not too complex. Don't get out of your lane when it comes to the business that you do well. double down on it, serve those customers, and then make sure that you've got a process to get them through. There's no fun being a fintech partner working with you where you're like, hey, here's the next step, and then you're like, and then the next one, and the next one, but no one knows how to get through. Having a clear process, that's one of the things I pride myself on in our organization. We're transparent with our customers. We've got the speed to move sometimes faster than the fintech, and move them through a process where they really understand what is the next step and how do I get live. And then once live, not throttling their growth, really supporting their growth because we've taken the time to understand their business, understand their use cases, and support them with the payment functionality that they need to succeed.
Excellent. Sounds great. And are there any collaborations that you forged at Grasshopper that you're particularly happy about, or are there any in the pipeline that you've got at the moment you can tell us about now as well?
Well, I'm not going to share any pipeline stuff because those aren't ready yet, but really excited about a lot of the opportunities that are coming through. They stay core to the competencies of Grasshopper and our team, at our embedded finance team. Really excited, really like the longevity of the relationships that we've had so far. We only launched our platform in 2022, and we've been working with customers since then. So it really shows that the customers that we're working with are happy to continue the relationships, that we're growing together with them, and that says, a tremendous word for the work that we do.
Sounds great. And just to finish off then, looking to the future, how do you see the financial services landscape evolving then with embedded finance as well?
I think it's just going to propel to be meeting folks where they are, where they want to do their banking, and allowing them to use whatever app is available to view, transact, and see historical data of their money, and giving them access to different products and services that they maybe otherwise wouldn't have at the time and place that they would want it to have historically. So I'm excited for the democratization and access to financial services through trusted companies that customers already work with.
Excellent. Well, exciting times ahead. Lauren, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with us again. Like I say, enjoy the rest of the conference. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.